handles the winners finals, and we're seeing the Machine try double splash, one of them being the Neo. Meanwhile, Graveyard going to be going for the Machine Tetra double splash, none of which being the Neo. Very support-orientated kit from both Splash-O-Matics, though. We're going to be seeing a lot of Tri-Strikes here, and this is definitely a map for Tri. The fact that the vanilla Tri with Mist Inkjet was picked on this map, yeah, you know, the one with Fizzy Attack is definitely going to be picked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Fizzy going to help it a little bit more with the paint than it would have on the other kit. And on top of that, it actually supports that aggressive playstyle with the Tactical or when you want to run in. So, looking good so far for Graveyard Shift. Able to get control on the...
Oh my god!
I had to say something. I had to
Orion
say words.
clutches,
Chara.
and then Max just is like, nah, I got this. I'll just clutch harder. Just clutch harder. You know, it's the solo queue advice. But it worked here. And now they got map control. They got the Booyah Bomb to cover the front. And Graveyard is being kicked out as Orion gets a trade there. Really good to trade with the Neo Splash, but honestly doesn't show the output. Max is going really aggressive for that machine, though. Or not Max, the other machine was going very aggressive there. Not sure if that's worth it, though. They didn't have the Tacticooler up. They have Cooler, but they didn't use it in time either. They're going to get a little bit staggered here, and it's just the other Splash trying to get their team back in. The Booyah is going to be used to get them out, and hopefully they can stay alive here. Tetra underneath is just desperate for a kill. Gonna go down, but 2 on the side of Graveyard, and we're even here. And it looks like they're gonna opt to just let the Crab Tank be. Don't want to waste Tri-Strike on it. Attack's not the worst special in the world to lose. And just hold on to it and push afterward. Here we go with the Tri-Strikes. Tetra immediately goes down. Madness pushes in. We see the Crab Tank coming out very defensively on Snipe, though. I think it could have been used a bit more aggressively, but still gonna be in a good enough spot to apply some pressure.
Trying to go back in and get control of the zone here. It is always difficult given that it's a double zone map, but Graveyard Shift pull it off with a nice double kill there for Orion on the Tetras. Going to be trying to flush this area out behind the enemy plat. They do get another one too, and with the Tetras, they don't mind going down here. That's kind of their game plan anyway. They just force the enemy team further back, and that's what they were there for. Look at this. Tetra's already back in play. Zone still uncapped, and they can go right back to harassing the way that they always did. That's kind of always the goal here. So Orion really taking control of the game here. That's another 2. 3 down for Seafoam, and a complete wipe. Orion absolutely popping off at the end of this game here. You have
oh
to
my god, this slider's gonna be huge.
Oh my god, was that a...
Yeah, if it wasn't for Spot Armor, that could have ended
Oh.
up being a lot more, but I mean, there's nothing much Seafoam could have done there.
That was gonna be so cool.
Yeah, it started off going very well. I think Seafoam just got kind of greedy. Like, the drop underneath to chase the machine was kind of unneeded, especially when the tack was ready. Like, just tack first, get the respawns in, get the jumps to grab Cooler, and then you can take the fight and you can afford to have trades like that because you'll have the Cooler respawns and can jump onto the roof. And so I think if they held off on that play just a little bit, they could have held there, and considering Flounder, you know, that could have been the game. But after that, though, I mean, one player, Orion, just double, 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 every time. He just drops in, kills 2 people before going down, does it again, does it again, does it again. And, you know, if you're constantly having your resources being drained, then, yeah, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, playing against the Tetras, the immediate priority is always just how fast can you take out the Tetras? How little damage can you allow them to do to your team? And if the Tetras gets to do what it wants to do, then there's not a lot of counterplay to that because it's just killing way too many people. And the rest of its team is going to be able to do what they need to do to play the objective behind it. It's just one of the best main weapons in the entire game. And being able to play around that, it doesn't matter that it's got a Reef Slider sometimes. Although, you know, trying to make the Reef Slider look like it can do something there was Orion at the very end of it. So,
I mean, if they all have to drop it at one spot out of spawn, you know, gonna be a little easier.
Yeah, if you know exactly where they're going to be, because that's the only place they can possibly go, it's about how it's going to go.
I'm sorry, Reef Slider defenders, this ain't the...
I am not one. I was trying to throw him a bone there, but you're right. We can't give them false hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, better to be brutally honest here. Looking at the Sonder set, it looks like Sonder is winning right now against New Meta in terms of the game. I don't know the overall score. And it looks like New Meta is about to get the lead because 2 people just died. So there you go. That's Sturgeon Tower control. So that set's happening right now. We'll be getting the winner of that set right after, most likely. Here we go, though, onto this set. Seafoam not out of it yet. They got Flounder out of the way. They're going to be able to go with the Heavy. And this is a big change. Sounds small, but Heavy is very, very good against Tetra. And as we talked about last game, the Tetra was kind of the problem. Being able to shut down the Tetra with a weapon that can farm Weight-Breaker, with a weapon that can keep it at a distance, is going to be very, very helpful for this team.
Tetra's setting up around this wall here with the rest of the team on the other side. Pretty standard play. Tetra's going to try and draw their attention away from what else is going on the map. But they are able to get 3 down. So Seafoam going to be having to reset here. And oof, that's a Kraken already online. That's, okay, well, that's a Reef Slider. There's the Reef Slider. It did
there's
something,
the press right stick to die special. There we go. It did it. But I mean, you're gonna die anyway. You might as well delay it a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose. But with a crab on the wall, that is going to make it difficult for Seafoam to get in here and fully clear. Still having to contest the right bats, and this is a problem for them. They're getting pinched from multiple sides now. The bats is completely under Graveyard Shift's control. So Seafoam, that pick was crucial. 2 down now. They're going to be able to stop the tower, and they should be able to regain control of mid at this point. Kraken goes out to try and buy some time. Tetras are here, but Barry with a charge. Do they have the time to get away? They are.
There's Shadow Sharking, but I think the Autobomb actually gave him away, and that's why he popped out here. Just a random Tetra Auto, I think actually came in handy there. Here comes the Reef Slider. Gets away with it this time. There we go. Gets a pick. Has the Haunt there. Can actually see the Heavy, but Barry able to be aware of that position. They'll shut down the push, but that is a really nice push from Graveyard Shift all the way to 28, getting through the second checkpoint. That could be so dangerous here. And we're going to have to see if Seafoam can keep momentum, and that's going to be tricky here because we don't have any crabs to really stabilize if things go wrong. And having a lack of stability against the Tetra is going to be really, really difficult here. They do Wave Breaker and Weavon to try to hold it down, but a lot of players go down, and now these specials that would have been really useful to push forward and take that side of the map are going to have to be used just to maintain the little control they have. But there we go. 2 people go down as Obi gets picked on another side of the map. On top of that, the Crab Tank was used early. It's just this machine who gets picked off by the last shot of the Trizuka. 1 more shot left. Gonna deal some damage to the Tetra. They need to get this kill cleanly. There we go. And now, Seafoam has a great opportunity. They're gonna try strike. And at this point, the members of Graveyard are very clumped up. And the 96 goes down. That was the most important player to kill. They are not gonna have that defensive Kraken to be able to secure the tower. The wave is also gonna be able to be used on the tower or on the high ground. Really nice subtle wave breaker spot there to hit the high ground. Trizuka gets another kill. And Seafoam are turning this around.
Such a beautiful set play to get themselves up onto the plat and get this many points. They're still going. The checkpoint is clear. They still have someone in between the tower and the goal. If they're not careful, this could KO. Finally, someone gets on tower, but it's a push to 3 for Seafoam. Finally, the wipe comes out. So they go for broke. Let's see if they try to control from the left stack here. That is a pretty common play. We see that from Starburst a lot, trying to set up jumps behind that left stack, but it looks like with Orion that deep in their base already, they're not going to have the time to get there and get set up. So no continued push from here. That is a complete wipe, and that is going to be Graveyard Shift taking some control back. But all that means is they get the tower back into mid, and that is not a push to 2 that they are going to be able to use off of that fight wing. They're going to have to work their butts off to get this.
I don't know if the Zuka needed to be popped there. That crab was honestly pretty defensive. But yeah, Graveyard very split. Orion on the plat, debating if we get the tower, trying to push 2 different speeds. And that led to a very messy retake in a minute. Even with the Zuka being used early, there's no map control there. And Seafoam wants to put the tower a little bit past where the first checkpoint is. Put it in that corner and just, you know, touch the tower a little bit every 5 seconds for the special charge. And just keep that part of the map under control. And right now we see the splash on the left side of the map. Get a crab tank at the ready. Gonna be popping it early. And just trying to hold a little bit of ground, but it's used on such a low angle that it's going to be tricky to find anything. The shots on the side here, able to get 1, slowly trying to open things up here, and they're going to find 2 kills onto the members of Graveyard Shift. There's just the Tetra. Everybody is on the Tetra, and they can afford to be with the other team down, and they have specials ready. Now, you can't panic here. It's still 2 crabs and a Kraken. You mainly want to get that Tri-Strike. Tri-Strike is one of the only specials that's extremely reliable at moving Kraken off the tower. The Zuka gets a bit greedy trying to end that Kraken early, but Obito's gonna pop it! There's nobody here. I feel like that's an entire waste. And now the overtime Kraken isn't there yet. They're going to try to push in, but the end lag is there. The shark dies. And I think that was a huge mistake. The resources are gone. The specials are gone. And now it's just 2 splashes trying to hold things together. The crab is being used. Double suctions applying damage enough to actually break that crab tank. But it's not over yet. The jumps are coming in. But Seafoam gets the kills on the tower, but nobody's there to actually get it. But they're just going to clean up the members of Graveyard. And when it looked hopeless, they turned things around. And Seafoam is now 1 game away from winning the set.
Seafoam, I think, just had a better game plan on that map mode. You could see as they were getting up to the enemy plat, the Tri-Strike went out at exactly the perfect time. Tetras were trying to draw them out onto plat, try to give their teammates time to get a defensive formation set up on bats to not give that up. But as soon as the Tetras went down, Tri-Strike gets used. Now the entire team can rotate up from plat to clear bats out, and it was just over from there. Seafoam taking so much space, and they didn't even really need to try and sustain that push because they got to 3. They got what they needed there. And with, like you said, the Kraken going out a little bit too early, with, you know, the crab getting popped way too far down on the low ground, the specials just weren't getting as much value from Graveyard Shift there. So definitely, you know, good kudos to the game planning on Seafoam for them to be able to pull themselves back from that deficit and make a very decisive push.
And this is an interesting map. On the one hand, bit of a weak QR map for the Tetrix. QR itself just isn't as strong here. But it's also zones. This is Graveyard's best mode. This is the mode where they could do the sword Tetra if they want to. Though at this point, I'm not sure because we haven't seen him pull it out yet. And I'm not sure. On the other hand, it does still have angles for the bucket. We could see it. But it's going to be a very even map, honestly. I can't give any team the advantage here. And yes, Seafoam absolutely rolled the second half of that game, but Graveyard rolled the first half. Honestly, it's really hard to tell who's going to be able to take the set. And yes, no crab. No crab again. We saw 0 from Seafoam that time. And maybe they'll opt to not do it again. Maybe they're going to opt to keep with this things that can counter it, and then instead of having a 4th crab counter, we instead just run something that counters the Tetra because there's a Tetra. So, I mean, it makes sense. They're comfortable with it, so we'll have to see. I bet they're debating it right now. Probably also debating, like, maybe Zekofin? Maybe Custom Jet? I don't know about Custom Jet. I don't know if we've seen Barry on C Jet, but a lot of different options here. I'm very curious to see what the teams go with.
Yeah, and we'll be finding out in just a couple of seconds here. The time has ticked down. It is battle time. And Romeo is back. Sitting on my headphones. Okay, there we go. We're good.
Well, here we go, everybody. Game 3 of an intense losers bracket set. Both teams on match point, and that's a bucket, double Tri-Strike, and an E-liter. And a Flingza. Oh, the Flingza wouldn't have been as good if it was against a heavy, but it's against a charger. That's what you want. Double Tri-Strike, Zuka, and Wave. Oh boy, here we go. Not going to stick with the hard Tetra counter with the heavy spawning. Going to opt to just go with the comfort pick. We'll see if it pans out. And yeah, no sword here. Looks like Zera is going to opt to stick with the splash for this set.
Orion poking around the right side does end up getting caught, so no pressure from that right side yet, but the crab tanks are enough to take the zone for now. Looks like Seafoam's going to try and fight back right now. They pop a Zuka, and they're trying to force their way onto the zone, but not a lot coming out of that. They are able to get the Flingza, which will give them the cap, but this is not control of mid by any means.
And we saw something very interesting there. The Flingza got immediately targeted with the Tri-Zuka when it tried to vertical flip. Zuka is very good at punishing slow stuff, and its startup is actually lower than Splatoon 1's Tri-Zuka, or Ink-Zuka. So it can actually be used as a kind of way to punish slower weapons there, if you see them commit to an action like that. We did see that. However, Seafoam on the back foot here. They gotta know Orion's here and punish it. There we go. Cannot afford to go down and lose the Tri-Strikes here. You don't have Crab, so you need a lot of specials to make up for the power you're losing, and you need to use them to get your main weapons in front. Here come the Tri-Strikes to wall out the Crab. The stacks here are going to make it a little bit tricky. The Flings are just backing off here, and Graveyard trying to play incredibly patiently, but there's the pick. It's going to come down to the strikes and the Zuki here. They're being used a lot of the same spot, but one of them managed to pick off a splash who seemed to be sharking there. Two go down. Tetra stuck in the zone is going to get picked, and it's just the Flingza who's in the corner of the base. probably not in any danger here. Gonna opt to play safe and just work on those missiles here. If Barry is able to get a kill here, this could be crucial. Especially considering the respawn Punisher to deal with the Tetra. Gonna be looking for one, not able to find it. The Tetra trades with a bucket, but that's a good trade for them. Crab is coming out onto the zone here, and they're gonna be able to flip it for the time being before the strikes come back to flip it back.
Yeah, we see, you know, they're needing to use everything in their toolkit on Seafoam to be able to make those retakes. They needed multiple specials, and then they needed the bucket getting into this really powerful position. So for now, you know, Graveyard Shift looking like they've got a decent shot here, but with one going down, Seafoam going to be trying to push up and clear them off of this stack and make another choke point that they're going to have to fight through before they can get there.
Oh, this might be from, oh, now the missiles managed to get a kill. I was about to say, the Tetra's dead and can't go in with the missile, but the missiles managed to help get a stray kill. But even then, that kill gets traded, and all of the sudden, this is starting to look a bit bad. You want to cap the zone, by the way, if you're Seafoam. You don't want to tunnel into Tetra too hard. Okay, there's the trade, but you want to get zone here. You want to try to cap and let the penalty go down while the other team is scrambling, and they're going to be playing for the crabs, and we already see the next missile ready. Here come the tri-strikes to shut down Crab 1, but Crab 2 is ready, and the strikes are not. But the Flingza gets picked! Seafoam is so close to their specials! Obi goes down! Tetra goes down! Only one Splash-O-Matic left alive! This could be it. The Zuka has to come big. One shot. Two shots. They're going so far, though. Orion goes down. Splash goes down. They just don't let the zone flip. The Flings is the last alive, and Seafoam does it! Taking down Graveyard! What?
That snowballed so quickly. Oof.
So many resources to stabilize if one person goes down with Crab, and Missile. And somehow, Seafoam, without any crabs of their own, prevent them from coming back and take the set.